You've been pretending you're okay. Not loudly, not dramatically, not in a way that anyone could easily notice. Just enough to get through the day. Just enough to answer messages. Just enough to show up where you're expected. Just enough to smile when someone asks how you're doing. And from the outside, it probably looks like everything is functioning normally. Your life moves forward. Your responsibilities get handled. Your routines stay intact. But underneath all of that, underneath the routine, underneath the expectations, underneath the quiet performance of holding everything together, there's been a question following you around. A quiet question. One that you rarely say out loud. A question that appears in the silence between moments. How much longer can I keep doing this? You don't post about it. You don't turn it into a dramatic confession. You don't sit people down and explain the weight you're carrying. But you feel it. Deeply. You feel it in the tiredness that doesn't disappear after sleep. You feel it in the kind of exhaustion that no weekend ever seems to fix. You feel it in the quiet ache inside your chest. The one that doesn't have a clear reason, yet never fully leaves. And sometimes there's this strange contradiction. From the outside, your life looks fine, maybe even good. But inside it doesn't feel right anymore. Something feels off. Something feels misaligned. And that disconnect can be confusing because you start asking yourself questions like, why do I feel this way if everything is technically okay? Why does my life look stable yet feel so heavy? Let me tell you something gently, something most people never hear when they need it most. This isn't failure. This is awakening. You are not falling apart. You are outgrowing a version of yourself that cannot come with you where you're going. And the truth is, that process rarely feels empowering in the beginning. It doesn't arrive wrapped in excitement or celebration. It doesn't feel like a breakthrough. At first, it feels like loss. It feels like confusion. It feels like uncertainty. Because growth rarely introduces itself as growth. Growth feels like endings. Growth feels like restlessness. Growth feels like standing in the middle of your own life and realizing that something inside you has shifted, but you can't quite explain what. And so naturally, you try to fix it. You try to force clarity. You try to make decisions quickly. You try to solve the feeling as if it's a problem. But the feeling isn't a problem. It's a signal from a deeper part of you. A part of you that has been whispering for months, maybe even for years. A part of you that has been quietly saying, you are meant to live differently. Not louder, not more impressive, not more successful by someone else's definition. Just more true, more honest, more aligned with who you actually are. But every time you ignored that whisper, life got heavier. Not as punishment, not because the universe is working against you, but because pressure creates honesty. Pressure pushes you toward truth, and you've spent so much of your life being strong, being reliable, being the one people can depend on, the one who solves problems, the one who stays calm when things fall apart, the one who carries the emotional weight of situations so others don't have to. You've been the stabilizer, the support system, the steady presence. But here's the question that rarely gets asked. Who holds you? Who asks what you need? Who notices when you're quietly unraveling inside? Maybe no one. And when that happens long enough, you adapt. You learn to silence yourself. You learn to power through. You convince yourself that exhaustion is normal, that emotional heaviness is just part of adulthood, that feeling disconnected from yourself is simply the cost of responsibility. But your soul doesn't accept neglect forever. Eventually, it begins sending signals, restlessness, tears that appear without explanation, moments where you suddenly feel overwhelmed by things that once felt manageable, a growing intolerance for situations you used to tolerate easily, a deep longing for something you can't quite name, something meaningful, something authentic, something that feels like home within your own life. And that isn't weakness. That is the moment the old identity begins to crack. Here's the truth that most people never realize. The life that once fit you perfectly can eventually start to suffocate you. Not because it was wrong, but because you've changed. And when you change, the container of your life has to change too. Your relationships, your habits, your priorities, your boundaries. But admitting that shift can be terrifying because somewhere inside you, there's fear. Fear that wanting more means you're ungrateful. Fear that slowing down means you're lazy. Fear that choosing yourself means you'll disappoint the people who expect the old version of you. So you stay where things are familiar. You stay where expectations are clear. You stay where you already know how to survive. But familiar is not the same as aligned. And the discomfort you've been feeling lately, that's alignment knocking on the door. There is a version of you trying to emerge right now. A calmer version, a clearer version, a braver version. But you cannot meet that version while clinging tightly to who you used to be. And that's why things feel unstable, because something inside you is rearranging. Your inner world is reorganizing itself. You may have already noticed subtle changes. You don't react the same way you used to. Things that once triggered anger now simply exhaust you. Drama feels loud. Superficial conversations feel empty. Situations that once entertained you now drain your energy. And you might wonder if something is wrong, if you're becoming distant, if you're becoming antisocial. But that's not what's happening. You're becoming discerning. You're beginning to understand something powerful. Your energy is sacred. And once that realization arrives, everything begins to change. This is the moment where many people panic. They think, I'm losing myself. But in reality, the opposite is happening. You are shedding the performance. You're letting go of the version of yourself that tried to be easy for everyone else to understand. The version that tried to be perfect. The version that believed love had to be earned through effort and sacrifice. And shedding that identity feels vulnerable. It feels like standing in the open without armor, and armor feels safe. Armor makes you feel protected. It gives the illusion that nothing can reach you, nothing can hurt you, nothing can see the vulnerable parts you've been hiding. But armor is also heavy. And the truth is, you've been carrying it for years. Years of trying to be strong. Years of trying to hold everything together. Years of showing the world a version of yourself that could handle anything, even when inside you were quietly overwhelmed. That kind of armor doesn't just protect you, it weighs you down. And lately, something inside you has been asking you to set it down. That's why you feel more emotional lately, more sensitive, more aware of everything around you. Small things affect you more deeply. Certain conversations suddenly feel exhausting. Situations you once tolerated easily now feel overwhelming. And you might wonder why. Why do things feel heavier now? Why does everything seem to touch your heart more than it used to? It's because you're finally listening to a voice that has been quiet for a very long time. The part of you that you buried long ago, the part you silenced in order to survive, is resurfacing. The creative part of you, the intuitive part of you, the honest part of you, the part that has always known what feels right and what doesn't, the part that recognizes when something is aligned with your soul and when something is slowly draining it. And now that part of you is rising to the surface again, not loudly, not dramatically, but persistently. And it's asking you one simple question, a question that changes everything. Will you choose me this time? Not the safe option, not the impressive option, not the option that keeps everyone else comfortable. The true one, the one that feels honest in your chest, the one that might not make sense to everyone around you, but feels undeniably right to you. For a long time, you've been waiting for a dramatic sign, a lightning bolt moment, a sudden breakthrough, a clear voice from the sky telling you exactly what to do. But the real sign has already been here. It's the discomfort. It's the quiet restlessness that refuses to disappear. It's the exhaustion that comes from pretending to be someone you no longer feel connected to. It's the quiet knowing, deep inside your chest, that something has to shift. That is the sign. You don't need permission to evolve. You don't need everyone in your life to understand your transformation. You don't need approval from the people who are comfortable with the old version of you. And you don't even need to see the entire path ahead. You just need to stop betraying the feeling. Because every time you ignore that inner voice, the volume increases, the discomfort grows louder, the restlessness deepens. Not to hurt you, not to punish you, but to wake you, to bring you back to yourself. You are not late. You are not lost. You are not falling behind. You are standing in one of the most important moments of your life. The moment where your old identity no longer fits and your new identity hasn't fully formed yet. That in-between space can feel terrifying. It can feel unstable, like you're standing between two versions of yourself without knowing which one will take shape. But that space is also sacred. because this is where transformation actually happens. This is where you reclaim yourself, not through force, not through pressure, but through honesty. Honesty about what drains your energy, honesty about what excites you, honesty about what you have quietly outgrown. And sometimes that honesty can feel uncomfortable because it requires admitting that certain paths no longer fit you, certain expectations no longer feel right, certain roles you've played for years are no longer yours to carry. But when you allow that honesty to exist, something soft begins to happen inside you. The tension starts to loosen, the pressure begins to ease. You stop fighting yourself. You stop trying to prove your worth to the world. You stop chasing validation from people who never truly saw the real you anyway. And slowly, very slowly, something unfamiliar begins to emerge. Peace. Not because everything is solved, not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you are no longer at war with who you are becoming. You are no longer forcing yourself into spaces that shrink you. You are no longer pretending to be someone you have already outgrown. That is the real shift. That is the real breakthrough. From the outside, it may not look dramatic. No fireworks, no big announcement, no sudden transformation that everyone notices. But internally, it changes the direction of your entire life. So if you've been feeling unsettled lately, if you've been sensing that something in your life is quietly ending and something else is slowly beginning, if you've been feeling the strange mixture of fear and curiosity about what comes next, and if you're tired of being who you had to be, let this be your confirmation. You are not breaking down. You are breaking open, and the version of you waiting on the other side of this season is lighter, clearer, more grounded, and unapologetically real. So stay in this transformation, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's uncertain. Don't rush back into the person you used to be just because it's familiar. Familiar does not always mean aligned. Let the process finish. Let the growth unfold at its own pace. Let the new version of you fully arrive. And before you go, I want you to do something intentional, something simple but powerful. Write this declaration in the comments. I choose to step forward in faith. Not for me, for you. Let it be a line in the sand, a quiet commitment to your own evolution, a small moment where you acknowledge that something inside you is changing, and you are willing to honor it. And if you know someone who has been silently outgrowing their old life, someone who feels lost, confused, or unsure of where they belong, send this message to them. Because sometimes the greatest gift you can give another person is the reminder that they are not falling apart, they are becoming, and so are you. If this message found you at exactly the right moment, then trust that it wasn't by accident. There may be more waiting for you.